When I was a little girl, and we were at this time of the year, in Chodesh Elul, before Rosh Hashanah, before Yom Kippur, my parents would always take us to see my grandparents, my Zayda, my mama, and we would line up for a bracha. And I would put my head down, and my Zayda, who survived Bergen-Belsen, together with Mama and my parents, I remember I would put my head down, and his soft beard would cover me, and he would place his hands on my head, and he would say, Yisimech Elokim ki Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May you be like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. Yivarechecha, Hashem v'yishmerecha. Hashem should watch you. Hashem should bless you. Hashem should shine his countenance on you. Malachi Rachamim should be with you, mein Kind. The angels of mercy should be with you wherever you go. And then I would feel my Zayda's hot tears on my head. And my Zayda would cry. And when my Zaydi would finish his bracha, his blessing, I would go to Mama, my grandmother. And I would put my head down, and the same thing, my Mama would put her hands on my head. I was just a little girl, I'll never forget it. And she would say, Zisa Meidela, my sweet, sweet girl, Yisimech Elokim ki Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May you be like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. Yivarechecha, Hashem v'yishmerecha. Hashem should watch you. Hashem should guard you. Hashem should give you a good gebenched yar. And I would look around the room, and everyone was crying. Mama, Zayda, my father, my mother. Why were they crying? And now that Baruch Hashem, I am a mother, and I am a bubby myself, I understand the tears. Who cannot cry? Soon we're going to hear the piercing sound of the shofar. In our hearts, Uru Yeshenim Mishnatzchem, wake up, slumberers from your sleep. Yom Hadin is coming. Wake up. How could we not cry? Today, my Zayda's in Shemayim. Mama's in Shemayim, in the heavens above. My father's in Shemayim. And just 1 year ago, my mother was called to Shemayim. But I'm not alone, because the bracha remains in my heart. The bracha remains in my neshama. The bracha remains here in my memory, and it's with me forever. Every single person sitting in this room has had a mama, a Zayda, a Saba, a Safta, somebody who cried for you, somebody who shed tears for you, somebody who prayed for you, somebody who gave you a bracha, somebody who made a path for you, who's watching over you, and that bracha remains with you and with me until today. Until today. Never doubt it. All of us sitting here are the daughters of Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And their brachas remain with us too. But how do we plug into the bracha? It's not enough to have a bracha, we have to plug into the bracha. How do we make the bracha come alive in our lives, in our homes, in our families? What can we do? So travel with me now. Come on a trip, come on a journey. And travel with me back to the Ohel, to the tent of Sarah Imenu, our first mama, our first bubby. Mama Sarah, Ima Sarah. Sarah Imenu's Ohel, Sarah Imenu's tent was filled with bracha, it was filled with blessing. There was always light in her Ohel, there was always light in her tent. Everybody wanted to be there. Everybody felt good there. Did she have an easy life? Let me ask you, did Sarah Imenu, did our mother Sarah have a life that was easy? The Torah tells us that Sarah Imenu, Mama Sarah, lived for 127 years. V'kula and shavin l'tov, and they were all equally good. Equally good? Sarah Imenu? What a tough life she had. Lech lecha, Hashem said to Avraham Avinu. And Avraham Avinu said, we have to leave, we have to go, we have to journey. Leave everything that you know. Your language, your house, your home, your family, your friends, your land, everything. Leave. Where are we going to go? Who's going to help us? Where? I don't know where. But wherever Hashem says we go, we're going to go. And Sarah Imeinu goes with Avraham Avinu, and what happens? No food. Here you're in a hotel, a whole Shabbos, plenty of food. Imagine no food. And she has to leave again, and she gets kidnapped. Kidnapped. And then she can't have children for years. Imagine how Sarah Imeinu must have felt in her ohel, in her tent, when all the women come and say, Mama Sarah, Mother Sarah, teach us. How do we raise our children? How do we teach this baby? How do we create families? And they come with all their children, and she has none? None? How much pain she must have had. But all her years, kulan, shavin, letova, all her years were good. And her home was filled with bracha, with light, with a good feeling. How can that be? What was her secret? And finally, she has a baby, and she has to tell Avraham Avinu, Yishmael has to go. This doesn't work. And in her last days, her son Yitzchak is taken to an Akedah. And she doesn't even get to say goodbye. He comes home with his father, and the ohel, the tent, is dark, no more light, and they come in, and Sarah Imeinu's neshama went to Shemayim. She didn't even get to say goodbye, but she had a life filled with bracha. How did she do that? How do we plug into the bracha of Sarah Imeinu? If we can take just one of her brachot and take it home, then you and I, we can change our lives and we can bring bracha to our families. So what's the secret? The first bracha of Sarah Imeinu is that in her ohel, in her home, in her tent, her Shabbos licht, her Shabbat Nerot lasted from 1 week to the next. What does that mean? That the entire week her Shabbat candles were lit? What does that mean? In the Megillah of Esther, we say, La Yehudim Haita Ora v'Simcha. When there is Ora, when there is light, there is Simcha, there is joy. Sarah Imeinu never lost her Simcha. She never lost her joy. When there is light, there is joy. When you were in her home, you felt Simcha. Were her days difficult? Oh, yes. Was every day perfect? Did she have challenges? Of course she had challenges. But she held on to that simcha. How? What was her secret? Lashon Kodesh, the holy tongue, gives us so much wisdom because this Lashon comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from Hashem. You want to know one of the secrets to simcha in life? Listen carefully. Take the word simcha, which is happiness, joy. Change the nekudot underneath, and do you know what it says? Shemacha. What does that mean, shemacha? To erase. To erase? To forgive. To forgive, to make peace, to make shalom. Not to go over and over in our heads. She said that to me? He did that to me? I'm not talking to him. I'm not speaking to her. How often do you make a simcha and you have to make the tables and you say, I can't put her with her because they're not talking. She's not talking to her sister. She's not talking to her sister-in-law. These friends are not friends anymore. How often does that happen? And we lose the simcha because there is no shalom. There is no peace. And without peace, there is no joy because we get angry. We get bitter. We lose ourselves because we are so upset and sad. Sarah Imeinu, Shemacha, she taught us how to forgive, how to move on, how to live with simcha, how to live with joy, because that's the secret. To make shalom with your life, to make shalom with the people around you, to make shalom with your nisayon, with your challenges in life. I was sitting once with a couple, they were having shalom bayit problems. So I say, what can I do for you? And the wife says, it's his mother. I can't stand his mother. And I say, really? What happened? And she said, at my wedding, his mother did not let me choose my flowers. And I say, wow, how many years are you married? 15. 15 years and you're still angry about the flowers at the wedding. How can that be? Shemacha means you forgive, you move on, you let go. Because if not, you become such an angry person. You have no peace. You have no simcha. You have no joy. Did you ever go to an airport and they take your luggage? And sometimes you see people and they just walk through the airport and it's so easy for them. Their luggage is light. They put it on the scale, it's good, they go through security, they're on the flight. And other people, what happens? They put it on, it's too heavy, you have to zip it open, you have to take out, you have to put in another luggage, you put it back, the zipper's broken, you're pushing, you're weighing. It's hard, you're schlepping. When you walk around being angry at people, when you can't let go, when you can't forgive, you know what you're doing? You're schlepping luggage wherever you go. You're schlepping that anger, and it's so difficult to live a good life because you're upset. My mother would say it's like letting somebody live rent-free in your brain. They're always living in your head. You hear them, you see them, you're getting angry, and you have no peace. When you leave here today, if you're upset with somebody, if you don't have shalom with somebody, pick up the phone. Make shalom. Shemacha, forgive. Because if we forgive others, we come now to Yom Kippur, to Yom Hadin. Hashem will forgive us. Make peace, make shalom, and find simcha. Sarah Imenu, her lights were lit from one Shabbat to the next. Do you know what that means? It means that no matter how difficult the week was for her, how tough, and some weeks there are so many challenges and we feel as if we're in choshech, we're in darkness. No matter what, she never lost that light of Shabbat. I want to share with you something. When my children were little, often we would go for Shabbat to my parents' home. All the cousins would come. All the sisters and brothers would come. And one of the highlights of Shabbat was Leil Shabbos, Friday night. The children would all get into their pajamas, all the cousins, and they would all be in one room in the basement together, a little room, and they would say, Bubba, to my mother, could you tell us a story? Could you tell us about when you were a little girl in Bergen-Belsen? Tell us, Bubba, the story about Shabbos in Bergen-Belsen. They would ask for this story. And so they would all gather around my mother, and my father would sing the Shema. And after he would sing the Shema, my mother would begin, and she would say, Kinderlach, lichte Kinderlach, my sweet and precious lights. When I was a little girl, when I was your age and I was a little girl, I didn't go to my Bubby's house anymore. I was in Bergen-Belsen. I was so cold. I was so hungry. I was covered with sores. There was lice in my head. But I never forgot who I was. Every single day, the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, would give us an old, moldy, crusty piece of bread. That's what we were supposed to eat. My tati, my mother said, your Zayda, do you know what he would do? He wouldn't eat that bread. We were so hungry. He took that little piece of moldy, crusty bread and he would hide it. Every single day he would hide it. And he would say to us, Kinderlach, lichte Kinderlach, my precious lights, let's count the days. 5 more days till Shabbos. The next day, 4 more days till Shabbos. Kinderlach, count with me. 3 more days till Shabbos. 2 more days, 1 more day. It's Leil Shabbos. And then Zayda would gather us around. He would take out those little pieces of crusty, moldy bread that he was hiding the whole week. And he would give each of us a piece of that bread. And he would say, close your eyes, my lichtig kind. Close your eyes, my precious lights. Close your eyes and imagine that you're home. This is your challah. Mama had gebakt challah. Mama just baked challah. Can you smell it? Can you smell it? The white tablecloth is on the table. And then Zayda would begin to sing Shalom Aleichem. And he would say, Mama's licht, Mama's Shabbos lights are dancing. As he would sing each week Shalom Aleichem to us, we were transported. We were back in the Heim, we were back home. But 1 week, my mother said, 1 week my little brother said, Tati, Zisa Tati, my sweet father, I don't see any malachim here. Where are the malachim? And my Tati started to cry, and he said, you, my lichtig kind, you, my precious light, you are the malachim of Shabbos. Wherever you go in life, you must remember, you are the malachim of Shabbos. No matter how much you feel that you are sitting in choshech, in darkness, no matter how difficult the day, no matter how difficult the challenge, the time, we must remember to keep the lights of Shabbos from one Shabbos to the next, because you and I, we are the malachim of Shabbos. Never forget it. Never forget my Zayda's words. You are the malachim of Shabbos. So the first bracha that Sarah Imenu, Mama Sarah taught us, is to keep the licht going, to keep the Shabbos lights going. Never lose simcha, never lose joy. Make shalom, make peace. And remember always that you are the malachim of Shabbos. Never lose your light. The second bracha of Sarah Imenu was the bracha of the Isa, the bracha of the dough. From one Shabbat to the next, Sarah Imenu's dough was always fresh. Her challah was always fresh. What does that mean? What kind of bracha is that? That the whole week your challah is fresh, it's never stale. It means that to Sarah Imenu, her life was never stale. She always saw the bracha in her dough. She always saw the bracha in her challah. You know what we do? We make a big mistake in life. We look at everybody else's challah, we look at everybody else's dough, and we say, wow, look what a good life they have. Why did they go on vacation? We look at the Facebook and we look at the Instagram and we check the text and we say, wow, did you see the house they got? If I'd have a house like that, I'd be so happy. Her husband bought her that jewelry? How come my husband never buys me that? They went out for dinner? We never go out for dinner. If I'd go out for dinner like that, I'd also have shalom bayit. Did you see their kids? Such good kids. They never fight. Do you see the pictures of them? They're so happy. Did you see the awards their kids get at graduation? How come my kids never get awards like that? And we are so busy looking at everyone else's bracha that you know what happens? We never see our own bracha. And our dough, our challah becomes stale because we don't see the bracha. We think about what we don't have, what we are missing, instead about what we do have, what we are not missing, and we fail to see the bracha that Hashem gave us. And then we miss out. We miss out on so much because we're so busy looking at everybody else. Imagine going on a vacation And you check into your room and you're so happy. And you say, how wonderful this is. This is a good life. Finally, we're on vacation with the children, the family. And your little boy says, Mommy, I'm going out to go see my friend Donnie. Okay. Comes back in half an hour and he says, how come Donnie has a suite? We don't have a suite. How come Donnie's room is on the ocean and we're looking at the parking lot? And then you say to yourself, how come? And you thought you were so happy before, and you know what? Now you're not so happy. What changed? What changed? What changed is where you put your eye. You put your eye on somebody else and you don't put your eye on yourself. And then we lose out on the bracha. So we must remember that to have bracha in life, we always must see that our dough, our isa, our challah must never be stale. We must always look at our bracha and say, Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem. Make a bracha on our dough, not somebody else's dough. I'm going to tell you something about making the bracha on challah, which is a secret to bracha, and that is this. When we have our isa, when we have our challah dough, how do you make your challah dough rise? What do you have to do? You have to cover it. You have to cover it. Because bracha comes with tzniut when things are covered. You have bracha in life. Shh. You don't have to post it. V'achalta, v'savata, uberachta, and eat. Yes, Hashem says, eat, enjoy. V'achalta, v'savata, be satisfied. Uberachta, and make a bracha. Say thank you, Hashem. But why is sushi tastier if you first post it before you eat it? Why do we have to show everybody everything? Why do we have to take everyone on vacation with us? Why before we put on a ring do we have to take a picture and push send? Keep the bracha b'tzniut, with modesty, with dignity, with holiness. And all of us must keep our eye on our bracha, not other people's brachas, because then we lose out and we miss. Did you ever look at the challah? Before it rises and it's in the pan, it looks so little. It looks so small. Did you ever think to yourself, this challah is going to be big. This challah is going to be beautiful. This challah is going to feed my family. Look at it. And what happens? What happens? All of a sudden, it starts rising and rising and rising, and you put it in the oven and the whole house smells delicious. That is the potential for bracha that all of us have in our isa, in our dough. None of us should ever say, I'm so small, I'm so little. Who, me? What bracha can I bring to life? I'm not Sari Menu, I'm not Rivka, I'm not Rachel, I'm not even a Rebbitzin. Every single one of us says every single day a beautiful tefillah, a beautiful prayer. We say, Elokai, my God, Nishama Shenasata bi, the soul that you have given me. Tehorahi, it is so holy. Ata barasa, Ata yitzarta, Ata nefachta bi. Ribono Shalom, master of this universe, you gave me, you blew into me your breath. The neshima of Hashem, the breath of Hashem is the neshama, the soul that is inside of me. Everyone sitting here today, everyone watching this has within us Tselem Elokim Mimal, something from Hashem inside of us that is unique, that is holy, that is special for us to bring into the world. That is the potential that is inside of each and every one of us. No one should ever say, me? What can I do? Everyone here has magic to sprinkle into this world. Never doubt your greatness. Never doubt your potential. Never think, I'm so little. You know who taught this to me one day? A little girl. It was a Thursday afternoon. I did my Shabbos shopping. I come home and I realized I forgot things. So a few hours later, I have to go back to the store, do more Shabbos shopping. I come home, I'm cooking, I'm preparing, I'm getting ready. 9 o'clock at night, I get a phone call, and a family asked if they can come for Shabbos. I'm so tired, but you can't say no. So 9:30, I'm back in the supermarket. I come in, it's so crowded, I can't even find a cart. And I go to get the fish, and I go to get more chicken, and I go to get more bottles and drinks, and I'm holding it like this, and I'm balancing it, and I'm online to check out, and it's very heavy. And there's a little girl in front of me with her mommy. And she looks at me, this little girl, and she says to me, "Isn't that heavy?" And I say, "Yes, this is very heavy." "Don't you want a cart?" she says. I would love a cart, I said, but there aren't any. And this little girl looks at me and she says, "But there are some all the way at the end of the store." And I look at her and she says, "Would you like me to get you one?" And I say, "Wow, is that okay with your mommy?" And she looks at her mommy and her mommy says, "That's okay." And so this little girl goes across the whole store. She doesn't even know who I am. And I say to this mother, "Wow, what a special little girl you have." And she says to me, "You don't even know half of it, because this little girl was diagnosed this year with a very difficult illness. And every step she takes hurts her legs. She has pain. Did you see her legs?" I said, "No." And just then her little girl comes back, and you know what I see? I didn't see it before. She has braces on both her feet, and every single step she took was with pain. But what a smile she has, and she gives me the card and she says, "Look what I found for you." And I look at her and I say, "What's your name?" And she says, "My name is Ahuva." And I said, "Ahuvala, I want to tell you something, and I want to tell your mommy something. I speak to mommies and daddies and bubbies and zaydis all over the world about parenting and midot and character. And do you know that mommies and daddies and bubbies and zaydis and sabas and saftas all over the world, they daven, they pray to have a little girl just like you. What a special girl you are. What a special girl." This little girl taught me that night, never doubt yourself. Never put limits on what you can do. Never say, "I can't accomplish. It's too hard." Never doubt your greatness. You can always do something to make this world into a better place. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit your potential. Look at the bracha in your isa. Look in the bracha of your dough and watch it rise. Watch it become great. Elokai neshama shenasata bi. Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, gave each of us a neshama, a pure neshama. And we can make that potential of greatness happen in this world with our neshama. And what was the third bracha? The third bracha of Sarah Imenu was that when you walked by the ohel, the home, the tent of Sarah, do you know what you saw? On top of her ohel, there was a cloud. There was an anan of kavod. And when you walked by her ohel, you said, "Wait, whose ohel is that? Whose house is that? Who has that cloud?" And everyone said, that's Sarah Imenu, because she's connected. Who's she connected to? She's connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because she has Kedusha. More than just the mitzvah of mikvah. It is a Kedusha, it is the way we speak, the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we dress, the way we live. That is Kedusha that we can bring into our lives every single day. Because as women, we are connected to Hashem. We have the koach, we have the power of tefillah. We have the koach of dimaot, of tears. Vishar dimaot lo ninalu. And the gates of tears are never closed. So as women, we have the power to reach HaKadosh Baruch Hu with our tears. Rachel mivakal baneha. It was Rachel who cried for her children. And what did Hashem say? Rachel, mini kolech mi bechi. Cease your weeping, wipe your tears. Ki yesh sachar lepulatech, because there is reward for all of your hard work and your efforts. Vishavu banim legvulam, and your children will come home. Those were the tears of Rachel Imenu. We have those tears as women. And we can open Sharei Rachamim, we can open the gates of Shamayim, the gates of Chesed, the gates of mercy. But we have to know, what do we use our tears for? What do we cry for? Do we cry and ask Hashem for more things? We want more things? When was the last time that we cried for Am Yisrael? Do we cry for Yerushalayim? Do we cry for all our brothers and sisters that Hashem is waiting for us to come home? Do we cry for the Shekhinah? Do we cry for the Beit HaMikdash that was burnt and destroyed? Do we cry for the pain of another, or do we just cry for ourselves? When I was a little girl, I'll never forget it. My father was the rabbi, the Rav, my mother, the Rebbitzin, and I was sitting in the living room of my home, and there was a guest. And my father received a call from somebody in the congregation that their little girl was in an accident. And my mother said to us children, quick, take a Tehillim, take a book of Psalms. Here is a name, you have to daven for this little girl. And the guest that was there said, really, Rebbitzin, really? I think this is too much for these children. Soon they're going to cry. I will never forget my mother's words. My dear friend, she said, some children cry for chocolate. Other children cry for licorice or toys. My children will cry for the pain of another. Cry for the pain of Am Yisrael. There's so much tsar, there's so much tsarot. There's so many people to cry for, to daven for. Don't let a day go by. Use your tears to open Sharei Rachamim. Because Shar Dimaot, the gates of tears, never close. Nashim Tzidkaniot, righteous women of Israel. Pray, daven, use your tears, but use it for good. And we must know, and with this I will conclude, we must know that we must never give up on our tefillot, because Hashem never gives up on us. Each day in Elul we say, Lidavid Hashem Ori Yishi, the Yishi, Hashem is my light, Hashem is my salvation. And at the end of the tefillah we say, Chazak v'yametz libecha, Kaveh el Hashem, Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kaveh el Hashem, hope to Hashem. Hope to Hashem, Chazak v'yametz libecha, and be strong and have courage. And then we say again, v'kaveh el Hashem, and hope to Hashem. Why do we say it again? Because if you feel that your tefillah is not being answered, and you're knocking and you're knocking and you're knocking, don't stop knocking on the gates of Shamayim. Chazak v'yametz libecha. Don't give up. Have courage. Be brave. Be strong. V'kaveh el Hashem, and hope to Hashem, because Hashem will answer. When I had my little girl, my first little girl, I took her to visit Mama, my grandmother. And I remember placing this little bundle in Mama's arms. And my Mama, my grandmother, looked at me and she started to cry. And she said, you know, there were days when I was in Bergen-Belsen and I didn't know if I would ever see the sun shine again. I knew Am Yisrael would survive. I knew the Jewish people would survive somehow, somewhere. because that's what Hashem promised us. But I didn't know if I would ever hear the birds sing again. Could I ever have imagined that one day I would be holding my great-granddaughter in my arms? I would see family again. Can you imagine? Hodu la Hashem ki tov. Hashem is so good. Hashem is so good. He took me out of that fire. And I'm holding my little great-granddaughter in my arms. Who could ever have imagined? It's a miracle. Years passed. Mama left this world. Her neshama went to Shemayim. My little girl grew up. And Baruch Hashem, she got married and she moved to Yerushalayim. I will never forget the day when I was finishing the last words of my book. And as I was writing, my phone rang, and it was my son-in-law. And he said, Mommy, Mazel Tov, Shandy had a little girl. I said, I am going to go on the next plane to Yerushalayim. And I did that night to see my first grandchild. I finally, after all those hours, I get to Yerushalayim. I open the door. My daughter Shandy is holding this little baby in her arms. And she puts the baby into my hands and she says, Mommy, do you want to know what we named the baby? Of course, I said, what's the baby's name? And my Shandy said, we named her Miriam for Mama. For Mama. That night, I slept in the baby's room. 6 o'clock in the morning, the sweet sounds of a newborn wake me up. Through the shutters, the golden sunlight of Yerushalayim comes into the room. I take the baby into my arms. I sing the same lullaby that Mama sang for my daughter. Shlufi, shlufi meidela. Sleep, sleep, my little girl. Torah vetter lernen. You're going to study Torah one day. A grace at tzaddiket vetter vernen. You're going to become a great tzaddiket, a great and holy righteous woman. And I start singing to this little girl, and I say, Mama, can you imagine, Mama? From Bergen-Belsen to Yerushalayim, I am holding a baby with your name in Yerushalayim, singing your lullabies. This is your legacy, Mama. This is the legacy of Am Yisrael, of all the women sitting here. We never give up. Kaveh el Hashem, hope to Hashem. Chazak v'yametz libecha. Never give up, have courage, v'kaveh el Hashem, and hope again to Hashem. And we will bring bracha into our lives, into our homes, into our families. All those who need refuah shalema, Hashem should take our tefillos, Hashem should take our tears and grant refuah shalema, speedy recovery and healing. All those who need shalom bayit, peace in their homes, with husbands, with wives, with children, Hashem should allow us to enter the hearts and bring shalom into the home. All those who need parnassah, Hashem should help us find mazal and bracha and blessing and parnassah tovah, so we could give tzedakah and build beautiful homes for Am Yisrael, to be batei mikdash. All those who need shidduchim, Hashem should help. We should find shidduchim, and Hashem should send us refuah, Yeshua, geula, Mashiach tzidkenu b'mheira v'yameinu amen. Thank you so much.